Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Mark from Solo Games, and as of the recording of this video, Thanksgiving happened. So happy Thanksgiving, guys. Happy Black Friday. Today is Friday, November the 25th. Okay, so it is officially Black Friday, but for Amazon, Black Friday started actually yesterday on Thursday. So if you missed out, I think most of the products that are MTG related on the Amazon product dump has already been sold out or it's gone. So at this point, pretty much everything I'm talking about is already off the website. You're gonna just have to trust me on this. I'll include some screenshots of what I was able to pull, but I don't have all of the pricing. I do have it written down though, so I have those to go off of. But yeah, Amazon product dump happened, and overall, not as bad as I thought. I think everyone, including myself, definitely thought it was gonna be way worse than this, but it's not that bad. So okay, let's get into some details, right? I think, first of all, it's not that bad, but I think this is also strategically Wizards trying to kind of not nuke the market right before they start selling a $1,000 proxy set, right? So it's kind of a smart thing to do to say, hey, Magic's still kind of worth it. We're just giving you some Black Friday deals, but it's not like we're dumping entire inventory, and Magic's not going downhill or anything like that. At least not trying to signal that, right, through the product pricing. Most of the dumps do look like old inventory, so that is a positive sign, meaning it's like, Crimson Vow, we've already seen the dumps of that. There's no more AFR left, so it looks like probably Forgotten Realms stuff is all gone out of the system, which was surprising to me. Which probably just means that they dumped it too much before and it's all gone. Looks like SNC is now on the, dump list, right? So you have SNC collector's boosters on that list. A little bit of Neon Dynasty draft, but that could be because of I think there was like two or third printing of that. So there's, because again, it was a pretty popular set actually. So Wizards probably printed quite a bit of that set just because, hey, everyone's, likes it. Maybe it's probably the second printing given that Neon Dynasty happened this year. Wow, it's so many sets. We kind of forgot where we are. Anyways, highlights, some of the best deals, right? They had, I think the best deal out there was the $60 Midnight Hunt draft boosters. That sold out really fast. I mean, before that was posted on any deal websites, Reddit, I'm sure had some threads on it. I didn't really check. But that one was $60. So $59.99, shipping, handling, taxes, etc. That's pretty much the best deal. Besides that, things I really like, the Crimson Vow gift bundles, which is only, I think during the dump, it was only $23. And so there was that. There was also the normal Crimson Vow bundles for $24. Kind of weird with the pricing, why the one that's the gift edition, by the way, if you remember, gift edition and the normal bundles, the difference is that the gift edition does have one free collector booster pack. And if you value collector booster pack, let's say at $10 about, then you're getting 10 extra dollars. So it's kind of interesting that one is cheaper than the normal one. I guess you can argue the dice is not as good looking. I actually like the dice from the normal bundle much better than the one from the gift edition. But, anyways, that's that. So that was a pretty good deal. Going down the list here, we have the Commander Legends Baldur's Gate Commander decks, the 4 deck sets for $94. That was not a bad deal. That one did last for a while, so I guess not a lot of people were interested in the Commander decks, probably because there's too many precons at this point, and the best one, obviously, if you want to, kind of tier list it, 40K is the best ever released precon deck, probably. So it's kind of like, why would I buy that when I have, 40K to purchase instead? So I get it. Also on the list, the $110 Streets of New Capenna Collector's Booster. So this is pretty low. Most collector's boosters, when they dump, I mean, like the lowest we've talked about is the $95, $90 one that they dumped like a month ago about. But as far as this goes, 110 is pretty low. If you think about these things, MSRP is around like 200, 220. It's almost half price, right? So it is pretty low, but you can argue Streets of New Capenna is like a really bad set. So maybe there's less value in it. It's kind of up to you. I still think that, when you're buying collector boosters at 110 plus tax, there's not much downside potential from there. I mean, sure, it can go to 90, but you're looking at like this thing slowly going up. I think the only one that I've seen something that dropped like drastically this low again was just Vow and Midnight Hunt, and I didn't think that they printed that many Streets of New Capenna sets. Not sure, maybe it is. One that's actually kind of interesting, Neon Dynasty draft boosters. They sold a bunch of them at 72. Now, this one was a little bit hidden. If you went to the website, just did a search, you might have seen it at $99. But if you had to go to other sellers, find the one that's sold by Amazon, that's the Wizards store basically, that one's 72. So that one also sold out really fast. Once I told some of my friends about it, they started buying, and I think basically the word got out how to find it, and yeah, that one sold out pretty quickly. But again, I think Neon Dynasty was a great set. I think for $72, it's really awesome. And if you look at the set EV right now, the set EV for that set is actually 77. So if you buy it for 72, ignoring tax, right, then you actually come out ahead by just opening the box. So, and that's pretty rare, right? Having that reverse EV, it's pretty rare for that to happen. So with the inverted EV, in general, that means it's a pretty good deal. So anything that's below EV, in general, pretty good deal. So something to consider. The last one I just want to highlight is Dominaria United. So this is closer to what we were all hoping or thinking they were going to do. But Dominaria United draft boosters were sold at 80 a pop, 82 or 81 or 8, whatever, right? Pretty good price. And I would say that this set, as far as like when I talk to all the players, they love the set. The set's good. The set's fun. The set's interesting, dynamic, So I'm just surprised that it's sold this low this early. So this is what I would actually consider more of a dump, is they would start selling things that just happened like a couple months ago, way below what stores probably could even purchase from distribution. So this is something that really you got to think about. Remember, draft boosters are print to demand, which means there's really no need to dump more draft boosters unless you have so many stocked up that you're not even planning to do a second wave printing, right? Now, of course, you can argue the cost of Wizards printing these and then selling direct to the consumers is way lower than going through distribution. So they can essentially sell for 80 and still make a good chunk of money. You're probably right. But again, think about long-term what this does to the pricing and how you can command certain pricing if you start giving players like price memory that certain things are supposed to be this price, especially on top of the fact that, the whole price increase from the last set, right? So something to think about from that perspective. Okay, moving ahead. So those are what I would call the best deals. Now, there's some other deals that are out there. These are a little bit tricky because I'm not really sure if they're actually deals, but I'll go over them. Commander Legends Collector's Boosters were sold at $147. I think in general, yes, I guess this is a good deal because especially these ones were advertised as the higher price or higher tier Collector's Boosters, more like near the Modern Horizons 2 price range, less in the standard draft booster. But we then also discovered that it was just basically a normal draft set, or maybe even worse. So I think them being kind of pushed down is correct. I still think 147 was a little bit too high, but again, it's kind of up to you what you think is the right price for these things. So we'll see. Long-term, Commander Legends, I still firmly believe in the product, but short-term, I think for myself, collector's boosters in general are just too risky if you buy at a certain price. Below a certain price, obviously you've worked out all the downside risk. It's not really that bad, but above a certain price, you just can't take that risk because you never know. Vow Commander decks. So they also try to sell the Commander decks for, this is Crimson Vow, I think. They try to sell the 4-deck set. I believe the price was around $80. Please double check on that for me because I haven't really looked at it because it was just not interesting to me. I think one of my issues with that was the decks individually. There's 4 decks, but there's really just 2 decks repeated twice, so you get 2 copies of the same thing. It's kind of annoying. In addition to that too, like if you look at the price of buying the decks individually, they were around like $15 to $19 anyways. So there was no reason to buy the whole set of them at the same price. It has to be drastically lower. Had this set, the 4 Commander decks, been at $50, $60, I think that would have been a much sweeter deal. Probably would have seen a lot more people transact on that and purchase it. Okay, 2022 game night. So I saw a professor video on this product, and the whole idea was that, hey, it's not that bad of a product. There's like some cards, I guess, that are kind of cool, but again, it's game night. It's very beginner friendly Magic set. It's like, it's not really even just for Magic players at all. It's hard for me to understand what this product's for. It's like you're selling 4-5 starter decks for the price of, I don't know, like, I guess about the same price as 5 starter decks, after discount. So that was like $33, I think, 34. But again, who's going to buy these? So yeah, I'm not surprised that didn't sell out. The other one, Val set boosters. Now, this one, I think you could argue either way if it's a deal or not deal, but the set boosters for Crimson Vow were sold at $78 each. To me, that's not a bad deal. I think that's okay, especially because, the set is not that bad, but it's a set booster. You're opening for cards. The singles are kind of like, the single prices are very finicky right now. So I don't know. I just, if it's a draft booster, I think it'd be more interesting. Again, I still wouldn't pay like $80 for a draft booster. For Val, probably more closer to the 60 range would be enticing for me. But yeah, if you like the cards, if you like the set, I think the set booster is okay. I just don't think it's that great. I think it's okay as a deal. But again, those are what was dumped on the product. Notice there was nothing dumped for Brothers War, which is excellent because, man, had they dumped Brothers War within a week or two of release, that would have been really bad. There was surprisingly no dump of Dominaria United Collector's Booster, which I know they have more. So very interesting where that's going to come down to, because they're not going to want to hold those product long term anyways. So they're going to have to dump it eventually. Which brings me to the conclusion. Look, this dump is not as bad as we thought. It's not as bad as I thought, and probably a lot of people were pleasantly surprised at how normal this Black Friday sale by Wizards was, which is problematic because it makes me think this is part 1 of X. Don't know how many more we're going to get until the end of the year, but Wizards does need to make their numbers, because otherwise Hasbro stock's already in the gutter. It's going to go lower if they can't even pull from the most money-making division at Hasbro. So, yeah. Now, the thing that's really positive about the Amazon dumps, right, versus other things, is the limit 3 per customer. So I really like the fact that they limited it to be 3 per customer, and so you can't really buy that many. Now, of course, you can multiple Amazons count. You guys can figure this shit out, right? Like, I don't need to teach you how to do this, but yes, limiting 3, absolutely the right thing to do, because it gives everybody a chance to go and buy the products, and there's a little bit like you get more people involved, so it doesn't feel like it's a sale that's like happening and you just missed it. More chance for other people to get involved. So that's actually a positive. This is the right thing to do. A lot of the things though, like Midnight Hunt, sold out way faster than I thought they would. I actually thought it probably would have lasted maybe, because remember, these sales kind of released around, I want to say, Thanksgiving Day in the morning. I think the sales actually went live at midnight, but I wasn't up to kind of look at them. But I woke up next morning around like 8 PST, Pacific, and then around that time I was already seeing these deals, kind of scrolling through on my phone, and I actually in that moment purchased some. I'm glad I executed some of these deals then, because from what I hear, it's like by about 10 o'clock, most of those deals were already sold out. So, like the Midnight Hunt thing, that didn't last like even a couple hours. Even at limiting 3 per customer, I think everyone who looked at it thought exactly what I thought, which is 60, absolutely buy it, right? It's a easy buy trigger. So yeah, so at least this gives you a good understanding of Magic cards. The draft boosters, even on a really bad set, overprinted, didn't have good cards, whatever, seems like a very strong support at $60. I would argue probably that support is even higher, maybe 65, 70. Look at Neon Dynasty. Once people will figure out how to buy that, sold out pretty quickly too. So my suspicion is that on sets that are decent, 65, 70. On sets that are not so decent, 60 to 65 are pretty much that, support, the bottom support that's going to, once the price goes below that number, it gets bought until that number. So yeah. But not surprisingly, right, looking at this dump, it tells me that there's definitely an inventory issue, right? So if you think about it, all these things they're kind of holding, they're trying to dump little pieces, again, not crash the market altogether. But this also tells me probably before the end of the year, there will be more dumps like this on Amazon. So, we all kind of hyped up the Black Friday dumps, right? thinking it's gonna be way worse. It wasn't that bad, but but because it wasn't that bad, tells me that they still have inventory that they have yet to release onto the open market. So we'll see. Brothers War collector's boosters might go on sale before the end of the year. I know they're like $230 now on TCG Player, but I'm telling you, I don't think that price is going to hold. I'm a firm believer of that. I think they are playing it smart by holding back the inventory. But as far as when I checked distributors, they have plenty of Brothers War collector's boosters on hand. So it seems to me there's still more products out there. Again, basically, so that's pretty much it for the Amazon product dump of 2022 Black Friday. There probably will be more coming in maybe until the end of the year, but who knows? But yeah, not surprising, not too bad, not as bad as I think we all thought it was going to be. So that is what it is, and I'll see you next time. Bye.